Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my series on surviving narcissistic abuse. So the question for this video is forgiveness the key, the magical ingredient to all healing of all situations? No, it is not. People like to believe that it is, and a lot of people like to say that it is because they want this feeling of stability or control. They have found the answer, or they think that they know. Forgiveness is the end-all, be-all, magical healing cure to any problem, any psychological problems that is the result of some sort of abuse. Just forgive the abuser and all will be well. They like to think that that will work for everybody in every situation, and that is the magic ingredient for curing yourself. It's really not. Dr. Ramani, a brilliant doctor that talks about narcissistic abuse, talks about how people who are overly forgiving attract narcissists like magnets. People who are overly forgiving and forgive over and over and over again, those are magnets for narcissists. There's nothing that the narcissist wants more than your forgiveness, because they take your forgiveness and just go, oh, well, they forgave me. I don't have to change anything about my behavior. They forgave me, so I can abuse them again and they'll forgive me again. And then you can click here to check out her video about how overly forgiving people, narcissist magnets. Now, a lot of people who have been assaulted or mugged or robbed by a stranger have talked about forgiveness and how it really helped them heal. And I'm not saying forgiveness that it doesn't have its value when it comes to the healing process. It does. But the difference is when the abuser is in your family, or the abuser is someone you have to go and work with every single day at your job, or the abuser is someone you know, healing is not necessarily going to come from forgiveness. If the person who hurt you was a total stranger, and hopefully now they're behind bars and locked up and they can't hurt anybody else, yes, in that situation, healing can be very powerful. If you have to go and see your abuser every day, if you have to sit down at Thanksgiving, at the Thanksgiving table and share a meal with them, and they have abused you and you have forgiven them, forgiveness means going back for yet more abuse. Groups for narcissistic abuse survivors, and a lot of people post like, just forgive your mother and the pain will go away, or just forgive, and you do not know what that person's situation is. A lot of times, like I've said, forgiveness has its place. It can be very healing. It's not applicable to every person in every circumstance. Everybody's life is different. Everyone's abuse is different. Everyone's circumstances are different. So please do not force that on somebody else that, oh, this is the end all be all of, this is the magic key to your healing. And if if you can forgive, then all will be well. What that does to the victims who are not ready to forgive or do not feel like forgiving is going to be part of their personal healing journey. What that does is puts all this pressure on the victim to do something that feels impossible for them, and that just makes them more angry and more enraged and more bitter about what happened to them. So yes, please do not push this idea of forgiveness on anybody else. Like I said, for some people it works, for others it does not. Everybody's circumstance is different. Now, what I'd like to describe as an alternative to forgiveness is total acceptance. Okay? Accepting the fact that your parent was a narcissist and they could not love you no matter what you did, and that was not your fault. Accepting the fact that your other parent was a total enabler and they were never going to stand up for you, and they're going to live and die with their crazy beliefs and there's nothing you can do to save them. Total acceptance. Accept the fact that you did not get the parents that you desperately needed when you were a child. It does not mean that you cannot find love. It does not mean that you can create your own family that loves you. It does not mean that you are not entitled to love. But when it comes to the narcissist and the enabler, especially if they were your parents, total acceptance is needed. You cannot expect them to change. You cannot expect them to love you, because they cannot. It's a toxic person you're talking about. That the narcissist is incapable of love. So if you forgive them and go back for more, forgive them and go back for more, you're like a hamster on a wheel. You're not getting anywhere and you're stunting your own development. So I suggest total acceptance about who the narcissists and who the enablers are, or if you're watching this and you come from, an alcoholic family or another type of toxic family, a parent who is a drug addict, a parent who was just, had some other sort of borderline or bipolar or some other, horrible psychological problem that led to trauma for you, I don't necessarily think that forgiveness is the magical key. Radical and total acceptance about who your parents were and what they were capable of and what they were not capable of is an alternative. And if forgiveness does not come easily to you, do not let anybody else push this idea on you, because everybody is different. Every set of circumstances is totally different. Sometimes forgiveness can be healing, but when it's forced on you, like you have to forgive them, it is in a way of victim blaming, because it's putting all the pressure on the victim to do something that's unnatural and impossible for them. And it's like, why can't you just forgive? What's wrong with you? It's like, there's nothing wrong with you. Forgiveness is not something that feels right for you. Don't do it, and don't let anybody tell you that you're stunting your own healing by not doing it. It is not the end-all be-all magical answer for all trauma. It is not. All right, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and blessed be.